We're Batman at 89.
Hello, and welcome back to Bat Minute 89, the podcast where we analyze, scrutinize, and you're my number one guys, Tim Burton's 1989 Batman film, 1 minute at a time. I am one of your hosts, Niall McGowan.
And I'm John Parker.
Ooh, ominous. And today we are discussing minute 16 of Batman. Ooh. Minute 16 begins with Jerry Hall walking out of a room after talking to Jack Palance, and the minute ends with Jack Nicholson walking out of a room after talking to Jack Palance. So
there's a theme.
He's a man. He can't keep people in rooms. Everyone's just desperate to get away. But anyway, so because we kind of touched upon the beginning of this minute in the last one, where we're saying Grissom's girlfriend, Alicia, Jerry Hall, came in and she had a very strange, "Oh, hi, honey," kind of look on her face. Grissom dismisses her, and then as she's walking out, she gives Jack Napier a very sort of like, hey, you, kind of smile.
And Jack stares right back at her.
Yeah, oh, he's got a sneer, like a real, not a bad sneer, like a sexy sneer, like a like, hey, babe.
Oh yeah, but if you notice though, I think Grissom, I get the impression Grissom spots him looking at her.
Yeah, this now is the beginning of because we know from previous minutes that it was alluded to that Eckhart knew about the Napier and Alicia, and presumably he's the one who told Grissom, but
unless he's known for a while.
Oh, they never really get into how long he's known and like how deep the cut is of this, because
well, even how long they've been like seeing each other behind his back.
But yeah, but we'll get all into that now, and as we roll into the minute, because not a lot of action in this minute. It is literally majoritively two men talking. But
yeah, I'm pretty light on the notes, but we'll make it work. We're pros.
Yeah, we might have to do an episode under 40 minutes. What the?
What? We'll lose fans.
But and so Grissom, he has a little look of like, I don't know what's going on here. Okay. And then he dismisses everyone with was it the line, "That's all, thank you, gentlemen, that's all," I think is what the line he says is like,
"That's all, folks."
Yeah, it's a very nice rhythmic kind of like, yep, there you go, that's nice, that's nicely done. And then we get a shot of Jack, who's also been informed that he's going to have to break into Axis Chemicals to get rid of some gangstery stuff.
Gangstery stuff? Is that the official term that they use?
I think that's all it is, though. It's just like, it's documents, papers. It's like the Big Lebowski is like, what's in the briefcase? Like papers, just business papers.
It doesn't matter almost, does it? It's like, well, whatever.
Yeah, that's what he's going to get, is papers. It's like something that's going to tie them to Axis Chemicals, and apparently that's bad. But
well, I mean, I had a question in the last minute, but I've saved it for this one because we're light on the notes. It's a slight detour, but I was thinking, especially when you get the shot outside of this building and it's panning up and whatnot. This office, do the gangsters own the whole building? Right, this was something I was unsure on. Or are they, do they own the whole building a bit like this is an odd reference, the Shinra building in Final Fantasy VII, or are they just like renting out the top floor? Because if they're renting it out, what is on the other floors? That was just something I was pondering as I looked at it.
I think that would tie into something I was wondering myself, in that, what is Grissom's actual position in the city? Because we just know him as Grissom Gangster. But he's obviously, like supposedly some form of legitimate business as well. He's obviously quite well off. If we were to take it that he is based on Rupert Thorne. Rupert Thorne was a corrupt city councilman who, as We mentioned that he, in the original Mankiewicz script, he hired the Joker, who hired Joe Chill, to kill Thomas Wayne because he was rivaling him in the run for city council. So we could take it that, I guess, that Grissom is also a politician of some stripe. And
I don't get that vibe, though. No one else seems to treat him like he is.
And to be fair as well, he also has the most, you mentioned last minute, the most gangstery looking goons. And if he's got these guys flanking him everywhere, you're going to know a mile away that he's a gangster. But
oh, yeah. They're dressed like gangsters, basically.
But but if we were to take it at that, if Grissom is, in fact, a city councilman himself, then this could just be like city office building of some sort. Like, this is...
I don't know, that's a hell of a building for a government sort of place.
Yeah, unless it's like a penthouse, and this is just his office where he does his stuff.
Well, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, like what's on the other floors? Like there's an accountant. Well, there is an accountant, as we know, up there. What else? You've got like a McDonald's down at the bottom.
But it's good. We do have to wonder, again, if this had been Chris Nolan, you probably would have had a lot of although, to be fair, with like Carmen Falcone and Sal Maroni, they're just like, just gangsters. They're just whoever. Like, they're just...
Yeah. You don't need to know anymore.
I will say as well, in an odd personal note, considering like the Nolan gangsters we get in Maroni, and playing like real sneering, sleazy joy by Eric Roberts, and then Tom Wilkinson's Falcone, who's just a flat out prick. Like, he's a really unlikable character. I really like Grissom. He seems like a nice guy. Like, everything about him seems like so warm and sort of like, And no, we know that he's setting up Jack Napier now, but it seems like they could have been like he seems like he would be a friendly enough chap to talk to. Like, he would be like, it seems like a kind of guy who'd give you a good, like, nice hard pat in the back, and if you do a good job and stuff. Like,
if you do a good job, I think that's the decider, because Jack doesn't feel that way about him. Clearly, he looks very wary. He senses something's up.
Yeah,
and
but to be fair, also, like, Jack Napier, the character, is a complete asshole. So
oh yeah,
like, Grissom could be the nicest guy in the world, and he would still treat him with disdain. So.
Well, how many times has he screwed his boss Grissom over?
I will note, though, it was a thing we forgot to mention in the last minute, and it's very minor. But when Napier suggests the whole, like, why don't we just break into the office and da-da-da, and then he does this, like, Jack, that's the way to go, in fact. But I do love when he's saying that, when he's giving Jack that's a great idea. Jack does give this little head nod of like, yeah, I had a good idea. Like, the boss approves. Like, he's really chuffed with himself. Like, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Little rat. I love what Jack says as well, though. He doesn't want to do the job, basically, because of the fumes, which I thought was a very, like, it's such a cop-out. Like, there's no way the fumes are really what dissuading him from the job, and unless he's a chronic asthmatic or something.
It's the bitter irony of, like, well, let me tell you, buddy, when you get in there, the fumes aren't going to be anything you're going to want to worry about. But
yeah, in fact, I might save it slightly here, but there's not that many fumes.
Well, we'll talk about that in detail when we get to Axis Chemicals. But
join us later to discuss the fumes.
Although, as we mentioned last minute, a lot of steam elsewhere in the film. So it's like
plenty of steam, not a lot of fumes.
Maybe that's Napier's thing. It's like, I can take steam, but fume, if you get like, steam, forget about it. But a fume, you're crazy. I'm not going near that.
No, jeez.
But then we get I don't know whether to go into this now in this minute, but I guess we will, because like it is a thing that it does slightly not bug me, but it is a bit like, well, why is this here? Because this now is the beginning of this scheme to get rid of Jack Napier. From what we know of Carl Grissom is that he's a gangster, and this guy is cheating. Like, this guy is stepping out with his lady.
Yeah.
And I've seen many gangster films, and it seems to me like you don't need to set him up to go and get arrested or shot or whatever in, because we see he is planning for him to be killed, because then we see later on Eckhart is like shoot to kill and all this sort of stuff when they're in Axis Chemicals.
Spoilers.
But why not just kill him? Like, why does he need? He's got goons. It's like in Goodfellas when Henry Hill, when he's like near the end when he gets arrested. Spoilers for Goodfellas. But when the gun's pressed against his head, and he's just like, well, I knew right then that it was the police, because if it was my friends or if it was the gang who was after me, I wouldn't have heard anything. I would be dead. And it's like, why is he going through all this trouble of like, oh yeah, well, get him in Axis Chemicals and yada yada yada. And then eventually he'll get shot, where he could just be like, hey, when Jack's in the elevator, just pop him in the head, because this guy's stepping out of my leg. I'm going to kill him. He's betrayed me. So I don't understand what the only potential thing I can think is that it's a favor for Eckhart, because he does ring him at the end of it's in mid next minute, unfortunately.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a bit like, oh, maybe this will help out Eckhart's career if he's the guy who gets to kill. Well, not only help out his career, it's like, oh, well, I was there, I busted Axis Chemicals and I shot Jack Napier, and then we can pin everything on him. And it also is that that Eckhart doesn't like Jack Napier. So I guess that's he is doing, because as I said, Carl Grissom seems to be a very nice man. He's doing
You're
Eckhart.
Definitely on the money with that, though. You're right. I hadn't thought of that at all.
This is just like, so I've been sitting like, I've had arguments with myself of like, what this? Why is he even bother doing this? And then coming back with, but well, you'll find this that maybe. So
I think my problem is I just sort of thought, oh well, he's just like a Bond villain, he just or like Dr. Evil, with his unnecessarily slow-moving dipping mechanism. I just thought, well, it's a movie, but no, I actually think you're right. I'd say he's doing it as a favor, maybe, because it would look good.
Again, even that, thinking it could be as well that I thought it was a bit silly to Grissom to set up. Well, I guess we find out later that he'll have cleared Axis Chemicals of anything incriminating. Yeah. But I guess it's helping him out as well. Of like, oh well, this gang was killed by the police there. They were headed by Jack Napier. He's dead. So best not ask any more. Yeah, best not ask any more questions. That's where the buck stopped. Was him. He was the top. So
that's the end of that chapter.
So, but anyway, back to the minute, I suppose.
What? No, we're the masters of the detour.
Yeah, we get he tries to pass the buck a bit with the fumes and trying to worm his way out of it, and
fails.
Yeah, and Grissom then assures him like, oh, he needs him there. And then so takes him by the shoulders and says, I need you on it. You are my number one guy, which is a line we'll be addressing again in the film later on. It's
of course, yeah.
It's the beginning of there's a couple of throwbacks. This film is in love with the old. We'll talk about it when we come across it.
Well, something I thought as well when he says you're my number one guy, the way he says it. It's not very comforting, I'll be honest. It's even more of a hint that something's up, I think, the delivery.
Oh, yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, because everything about it's just so, like, it's got this real forced grin of, like, you and me, buddy, right? And you don't know if it's even Napier, like, the way he kind of, like, the way he's looking at him's a bit...
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think maybe Grissom knows that he knows, but there's no way out of it.
Yeah. It's like, what can he do? So he can't just shoot Grissom, because then that's him screwed. I guess he has to just do what he's told. So it's
yeah, maybe. I don't really. Not being a gangster, I don't know how these things work, but
but that line though is like a life that took on a sort of life of its own, and that's like it's very associated with this film. And then I remember it now very particularly for. You remember the band Hot Chip?
Oh, yeah.
And they had that Ready for the Floor. They used the chorus was like, not the chorus, but like because the chorus was we are ready for the floor. But but throughout the song it had that like it had repeated them going like you're my number one guy, and I would have thought like oh that's whatever. but the video was referencing Bat Dance, and it was a weird at the time because it was like, yeah, the video. If people haven't seen it, it's actually a pretty good song, but it's
I've not seen the video. I know the tune, but not seen the video.
Oh, the video is very good. It's the band are trapped in some kind of warehouse thing in a series of death traps, and the lead singer it's a lot of jittery cuts, but in some shots he's half the Joker, so it's a bit like the Prince Bat Dance video where he's half Batman, half the Joker.
But you're not going to top that because Prince is God.
Oh yeah, of course. But it was just it was a nice reference, and he's wearing a very cool Joker outfit, I thought as well. But yeah, the lead singer. I mean, at some points he's completely Joker, at other points he's half Joker, and he's just he's controlling these death traps, and it's also very notable in that. So I remember at the time thinking, like, is this supposed to tie in? Because it came out, that song, in like late 2007, and it was played throughout 2008, which was the year The Dark Knight came out.
Oh God, don't make me feel old.
But that's that to me, it seemed like, is this like their kind of like the Dark Knight's version of like Will Smith Men in Black? Like it's like this is the tie-in single, because it was a bit like beyond then, because The Dark Knight's a film that features both the Joker and Two-Face, so then you get like the half thing takes on another dimension, and it,
oh my God, you've discovered it.
But I've looked at like in the Wikipedia page of the song, they're just like, oh yeah, we just like that line, like, you're my number one guy from Batman, and we just wanted to sample that, and they don't mention The Dark Knight. I don't think they were even aware that it was coming. Like it's
just a coincidence.
Yeah, it's just a crazy random happenstance. So
well, I would have tried to get it in the background of a scene in The Dark Knight. That'd be great.
Oh yeah, but this is a thing. We'll be coming up to this quite soon, because The Dark Knight, great film, arguably a better film than this film, but it owes a hell of a lot to this film. Like a lot of stuff in there that's like, that happened in Batman '89 as well. And
and sometimes in ways you wouldn't think, because you think of them as being two completely different movies, don't you?
Oh yeah, for sure. But actually, we'll get to it in the relevant minutes. But I have a feeling that the Nolan brothers who wrote the script for The Dark Knight, they may have read the original Sam Hamm draft of this, because there's a lot of things that aren't in the finished film that are eerily mirrored in The Dark Knight. So we'll see what happens there.
Copy and paste. Oh no, I'm gonna get sued for suggesting that.
But anywho, then we get You're My Number One Guy. Put a pin in it, people, because it will come up again later. And
highlight.
And then we get oh Jack, don't forget your lucky tech, which we theorized last minute. Well, you theorized. I think you're spot on with that. What that was. That he obviously got shot, and the deck is lucky because it prevented the bullet from killing him. So
yeah, it saved him, and it obviously means a lot to Jack. But Grissom kind of makes fun of it in a way, because the way he just sort of dumps it in the hat, like very disrespectfully, just sort of drops it in Jack's hat. Don't forget these.
That's the way he does have a bit of control, because he knows to bend the cards to get them to flop in properly.
Oh,
and I keep thinking like maybe there's a whole like reel of outtakes of Jack Palance trying to get the cards in there, and then just flying everywhere, and he just like plops in, and cards are falling out of the hat and stuff. He had to do the take like 25 times. It's like, no, Jack, you have to slightly bend them, and he slightly bends them, and they all come flying out of his hand and stuff.
Ah, damn it. No, but this scene's actually, I really like this, genuinely, like, because it seems like it has all the hallmarks of a gangster movie. Or even like Boardwalk Empire or something, like before a character is going to be assassinated. Because they both know.
Oh,
and they both know that the other one knows.
But they don't know that we know that they know that he knows.
God damn it.
But and then we get as Jack sidles away, we get the sound effects on the old score there of something akin to a rattlesnake. And a close-up of Grissom, which is indicating, it's this flat-out saying, he's a snake. Like, this is treachery. treachery upon treachery. So
and his forked tongue flicks out. No, hang on, I've made that up.
Could have. It was a borderline.
Might as well.
But yeah, then that's all this in terms of the actual content of the action on screen.
Yeah, there's not much more to be said really for the actual minute, isn't it?
No.
It's quite sparse, interesting, but not a lot to be said.
So I guess we have a bit of free time. One thing, so we could talk a bit about Jack Palance, maybe. Although one other thing before, because this is the thing, like I've found this out early on in the note making process, and because this is like one of the 2 scenes that they shared together, might as well bring it up now because I just need to get it out. There's a weird connection between Jack Palance and Jack Nicholson that I think's very like that's
right, okay.
In that this film is not just between those two, but also John Peters. This film is produced by John Peters. John Peters was partially the inspiration for the film Shampoo with Warren Beatty,
right, yeah.
and the Carrie Fisher's debut film. And his partial inspiration for the Warren Beatty character, but that character was also inspired by a fellow in Hollywood in the 60s called Jay Sebring. Jay Sebring is now in legend as one of the victims of the Manson family.
Oh,
so the Manson family killed Jay Sebring. And they also have links to, they also killed Sharon Tate, who was friends with Jay Sebring.
Yeah, of course.
Sharon Tate had a very brief relationship in her early days, and she appeared in the film with, as a background extra, I think, with Jack Palance.
Oh,
and then
really?
Yeah. And then, on top of that, Sharon Tate was married to Roman Polanski. And Roman Polanski directed Jack Nicholson in Chinatown, and then also, as we now know, the Polanski legacy is now that he also raped a 13-year-old girl, which is that nasty subject matter. But he did so in Jack Nicholson's house.
Oh no!
Yeah,
no.
So Jack Nicholson wasn't there at the time; he was away, but and was unaware of anything happening. But it's just seeing these 2 guys on screen now. It's like, oh, they have a weird.
Oh no, that's awful though. I didn't know that. Oh.
Well, we can cheer ourselves up by going into some actual nice Jack Palance stuff, I guess. So. Jack Palance, generally very well respected, very well liked actor now. At least, like we said back in minute 2, got his Oscar for City Slickers.
Yes. Somehow, not to knock that movie, but
Yeah. It's an odd role, but it's a very Jack Palance role because if you look at his body of work, he's a guy like, City Slickers and then Shane. He's the villain in Shane.
Oh, yeah.
And then he's appeared in a lot of Westerns, and he's a very man's man kind of, he'd be in war movies and Westerns and stuff like that. And then he's like, well, what's Tim Burton's interest in Jack Palance? And then it's like, oh, he also played Dracula. So there you go. That's how Tim Burton knows Jack Palance. He's like, oh, it's the guy who played Dracula.
Yeah, I can't imagine Tim Burton sat watching, war flicks.
No, he doesn't seem like maybe he did because I think Burton's talked about watching like the Brady Bunch and stuff as well. But
right, well,
I think that
kind of works though because you might be about to say the same thing. That there's a bit of that in things like Edward Scissorhands.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah. But yeah, he doesn't seem a Western type, but yeah, Burton seems like he would be like, oh, that's the Dracula from like the 1973 Dracula, like so. Yeah.
Then again, I mean, me and you, we like our Star Wars, we like our Batman, things like that. But we like lots of other things. David Lynch, of course, we've referenced a couple of times, and I recently, it was about 2 years ago, for the first time watched Lawrence of Arabia. So I like movies like that as well.
No, there goes. Maybe we're pigeonholing Tim.
Yeah.
Unfairly.
He might have a very broad taste. It doesn't come across in his work, let me say.
No, not at all. No. But just other few things about Jack that I thought were noteworthy. It's that, obviously his name's not actually Jack Palance either. It's
this blew my mind when I looked this up.
Because he's Ukrainian parents. His actual name is Vladimir Palahniuk.
Great name.
I wonder if he's any relation to Chuck Palahniuk, the guy who wrote Fight Club. But
I've not thought about that, actually. Yeah, I mean, maybe it's a common name.
It could be.
I'm not sure.
In the Ukraine, it's probably like Smith or
Smith.
or Skywalker, as people are theorizing about the Star Wars universe.
Every bugger's called Skywalker.
But and then he apparently was. There's a few legends about Jack, like or Vladimir. He apparently then was going to go with calling himself not Polanski. It's gonna be like Polanski. What the hell?
They are one and the same.
I think it was something like I'll have to double check. Yeah, it was actually he was going to call himself Jack Polanski, and then people just
can't do that.
People were just like, no, Palance is better. It just that stuck out more. You also notice he's got very distinctive look about him, and because he started off as a boxer apparently, and apparently he's a very good boxer as well. But
was he called Kid Presentable?
And then finally Kid Jack. But that ended after a while, and then you'll notice he's got very distinct features, and apparently there was always the rumor was that his face looks this way is because during training for World War II, he was caught in a burning airplane.
Oh,
I think it was burning. Was it B-24? I think they say, but. And then he, I think those notes are on my last page. Sorry.
It's all right that we'll cut this bit out.
Yeah, but,
or I'll leave it in to embarrass you.
He said he apparently bailed out of a burning B-24 Liberator while training in Arizona. But apparently he himself has just said, like, nope, like this was taken as gospel for years. And then he had to come out and go like, "That's not true. Like my features are just Ukrainian. That's why I look the way I look." So
maybe he just doesn't want to talk about it. Actually, right? You've clearly looked this up, and I haven't. Which military was he in? Was he in the U.S. military? Did he move to the U.S. as a child?
Oh no, I think he's second generation Ukraine. He himself born and raised in Pennsylvania, apparently. Pennsylvania.
So he wasn't in the Soviet army.
Oh, no. Oh, actually, as well, you're joking about his boxing name. Apparently, his boxing name was Jack Brazzo. So it turns out that was he did have a boxing name.
Why didn't he just use that as his acting name?
I don't know. Maybe there was a union thing, or
maybe.
God knows.
It could at least been Kid Grissom.
Starring Kid Grissom is Carl Grissom.
Oh, I'll tell you what, an action hero called Kid Grissom. That'd be boss.
I mean, a bit like the Toxic Avenger. I mean, it would be like a trauma character, like Kid Grissom. But
now I wish Jack Palance was in a trauma movie.
I'm actually sure I could look into it. He might well be. Beyond that, he was gave up boxing and then went to Stanford, which is like, ooh, college boy.
Oh, in Connecticut, eh?
Yeah, but and then one of the ways he made his way was that he was an understudy for Marlon Brando on Broadway for Streetcar Named Desire, and Brando was into athletics, and he was like, "Well, help Jack, come help me." I won't do the impersonation. Sorry.
That was good. Roll with it.
But he had them set up like a punching bag apparently, and the two of them were going at that training together. And then through whatever reason, Palance ended up punching Brando square in the face, and that damaging his face. And because of that, then Brando had to go off for a bit. Jack Palance had to take over his part in Streetcar. And because of the rave reviews he got himself a contract with 20th Century Fox. So punching Marlon Brando in the face pays off, apparently.
Maybe some other actors should have done that.
I wouldn't advise people do it now, but...
now it would be seen as very bad.
Yeah. But for sure there probably was many, many people who wanted to punch Marlon Brando in the face. Not accidentally either, so...
we love the guy, but he
deserved it. Like, a lot of the time, it's like, no, Brando deserved it.
Oh, yeah.
a punch in the face, basically. So. But, and then beyond that, I think that's. I have got other notes in Jack Palance, but I was like, let's not blow the wad just yet.
Save some of those.
Yeah, it appears that there's another link with him and Jack Nicholson I'll have to keep in mind. So
tease.
It's much less depressing than hey.
It's an exciting one, yeah. You know how to keep the listeners hooked here, I'm telling you.
Well, hopefully they could be still like, this guy will just tell us these things. I can't be bothered. Listen.
Yeah, I'm out.
I'm out. Forget it. I'm blowing this fascist popsicle stand.
Oh God, this has made my day. You've quoted one of my favorite lines. It can't get better.
But yeah. So I think that'll do. Unless you have any other notes yourself for minute 16.
No, I'm done. I'm done with minute 16. So make sure, as I say every single episode, but you might just be joining us. What was that saying?
No, I was like, except that one time you made me say it, and I just didn't know what to say.
Oh, I'm going to make you do it again. You better bone up on this stuff, I'm telling you. I mean, maybe you are just joining us now. If you are, you're crazy, and you need to go back to the beginning because you're twisted and sick. But if, whatever. If you are twisted and sick and you're joining us now, then make sure you chat to us online. You can tweet us, Instagram us, tumble with us,
send
Facebook,
a raven,
book us, well. Send a raven. Yeah. You can find us anywhere at BatMinute89. I don't think there'll be much competition. You'll understand exactly who we are on there.
Yeah.
Or check us out on iTunes, review the show.
Oh, it'd be good. Plus, no bad reviews.
Please do. No. 5-star reviews only, or you're a horrible person and we'll hate you forever. So yes, we will depart on minute 16. So make sure you join us again on Bat Minute 89 for minute 17.
Next time, telephonic terror. As a serpentine scofflaw slithers his way across his sumptuous suite, which corpulent constable will be corralled into a clandestine codification by the hissing hustler? Find out next time. Same Bat Pod.
Different Bat Minute.